And now we move on to our first panel. If you're just joining us, this is the NatSatTel 2025 virtual conference on key trends and opportunities in the global satellite industry. And we now are starting the first panel on new innovative services for satellite operators. And we've got three representatives of leading satellite operators, one of the oldest satellite companies and one of the newest and one in between. I'll let you figure out which is which. But without further ado, we have three very excellent speakers, as I said. Mark Dickinson, he's the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer of NEO Space Group. Brandon Seir, Chief Commercial Officer of Kacific. And Andrey Kirillovich, who's Director of Strategy and Business Development for Intersputnik. So what will happen is each one will give a 5-minute introduction, and then we will have a panel discussion. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're just joining us, there is a chat button there where participants can ask questions. And please, we'd like to keep this very interactive, so we look forward to hearing from you as well. Okay, so our first speaker, Mark Dickinson, as I said, was Chief Technology Officer of NEO Space Group. It's one of the newest satellite companies out there, and he has over 25 years of experience, including many years at Inmarsat, which was later merged with Viasat, where his last position was VP of Space and CTO. He actually managed a fleet of 15 geostationary satellites, overseeing approximately 1 billion in spacecraft and launch procurement, and led in the acquisition of OneSat, Airbus pioneering software-defined satellite. So, Mark.
Hi, Virgil. Thank you for the introduction. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Great. Thank you for the, if you can put my charts up, that would be great. So, yeah, so I joined NEO Space Group 2 months ago. And as Virgil mentioned, NEO Space Group is a company which has only been in existence for just under a year. So I thought it'd be an opportune moment just to spend a couple of minutes to explain who NSG are, or NEO Space Group. We were founded by the PIF, the Public Investment Fund, the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Saudi Arabia, as a strategic portfolio company and as the Saudi Arabian national space champion. And what that really means is that we are tasked with delivering on the goals and ambitions of Vision 2030 to be able to, for Saudi Arabia, both to expand its capabilities within the kingdom, but also to become an international space player on the global stage. So this company was formed, say we've been around a very short amount of time. We've have a number of capabilities within the organization that's come through both organic and inorganic paths. We have, at the moment, we have around 650 employees, which sounds a lot for a company that's only been around for just under a year. A large number of those employees came in a merging of a company called Tacnia ETS, which was a long-established Earth observation company within the kingdom. And in the core part of NSG, we're around 100 people today. So yeah, so we've been, as a national space champion, we're looking to both to many aspects on the space ecosystem, not just communication, although satellite communication is one of the key pillars that we have, and both broadband and in the IoT market. But we also, as I mentioned, with Tacnia ETS, we have a well-established we have a well-established Earth observation business, especially on the downstream side. So where we see the real value coming is an ability to be able to provide services to end users, downstream services to end users, by fusing various data sources together. So, okay, can we just move forward a chart, please?
Next slide.
Next slide. In fact, I've briefly touched, but can you go 2 more slides on?
2 more slides, please.
So, next, yeah, and 1 more slide more. Yeah. So, as I say, we have the telecom, we have the communication vertical, and we have the Earth observation vertical, and this well-established business we have today providing services, managed services and products and solutions. And as you may have seen in the press, NSG has already acquired or is in process of acquiring a company called Up42, which is a marketplace for Earth observation data. And alongside of the communications, the Earth observation, we also have a mandate to look at the P&T services within the kingdom and more broadly. And we're also going to build out a venture capital fund. And a venture capital fund for me as a CTO is a great enabler. It's a way that we can invest in technology, our future pipeline of technology. So sure, making an investment return is really important, but being able to essentially seed key technology into our technology roadmaps across all the verticals is key. And I think for me, what will differentiate NSG's capability in the market is not just focusing on one vertical, but can we actually create products and services which allow us to fuse these services together. So smart agriculture is a key area within the kingdom and globally. Can we fuse Earth observation data with real-time IoT data so we can look at fields, but we get moisture measurements at the same time? Can we fuse that with a P&T capability and a comms perspective to allow autonomous farming vehicles to go and farm the fields? And really provide that sort of managed solution to the end users. So we're not just focusing on a communication, or we're just focusing on Earth observation, but do we have the ability to unlock the products and solutions by combining them all together? So it's a super exciting time for NSG. So we're early days. We're not the one of the well-established operators, but we do have the ambition and the resource to really to execute upon this vision.
Great. Well, thanks, Mark. We will have a panel discussion after all the presenters have presented. And also, you feel free, those who are in the audience, to ask your questions later. So we move on to our next speaker, Brandon Seir. He's the Chief Commercial Officer of Kacific Broadband Services. So Kacific is an operator based in Singapore. And Brandon has worked in many different capacities in the industry, including with the Roshan Telecom Development Company, which was a subsidiary of AT&T, Thalia, Sonora, and Monaco Telecom. And prior to that, Brandon was Director of International Business Development for the Singaporean company TechnoBiz Equipment. So, Brandon?
Thank you, Labrador. Our introduction sounds much better when you read it, but obviously humbled to be here and grateful for the time. We started the business back in 2013. We launched the first geostationary satellite that offered Ka-band in a region with 25 markets. So all the markets that you would probably see around Australia, if I can get to the second slide, you will probably see the map of where we cover with the satellite. So all the markets around Australia, New Zealand, including New Zealand without Australia, and obviously the beams and the coverage of that satellite goes all the way to Nepal and parts of India. We have recently partnered with 2 other satellite operators to cover 2 other major markets, so Pakistan and Afghanistan. And we have also shifted gears towards diversifying the business. So we have now invested on producing auto-pointing and self-pointing antennas, which I will talk about it in just a while. So we have basically self-pointed, produced it ourselves, but self-pointed all the current 1.2 meter, 75 cms, the antennas, the remotes for the customers, so that you wouldn't require an installer anymore, but you also buy it at a very affordable rate. At the same time, we have expanded business into managing telecom towers, launching telecom towers, becoming a real estate management company for those telecom towers, just because we have access to the towers with mobile backhaul in the remote areas. And then we have started offering power, green power, as well as basically potable water, as they call it, water supply in some of these regions to expand the business and bundle it with connectivity. So going to the next slide, you may be quite aware about us. You have probably heard us if you have been in the region. What we do today is one of the key areas of our business is to focus on basically transporting the voice and data of the telecom companies to the rural areas, offering them a hybrid solution between fiber as well as satellite, just because a lot of these telecom companies, they've got fiber, for instance, and fiber is not available all the time. So they've got a downtime of about 30-40% sometimes. And there goes the satellite and fiber bundled together. We offer disaster communications, and with that, we have built and produced our own disaster communications SatPack, which is an equivalent of ManPack, but really, really affordable. And then an equivalent of a communications box that we call a comms box that can give you access to internet anywhere on emergencies. Besides that, our focus has always been to connect hotels, beautiful hotels in our region in the Pacific Islands, places like Fiji, Tonga, and these are the places you may have heard many times as travel destinations. So a lot of these hotels are connected through us. We've focused on connecting clinics as well as the schools, and that's where we see our strength. Today, we have got about over 500,000 business users. So we mainly connect enterprises. We don't really connect residentials, although residential businesses or residential customers, I should say, related to business forms about 7 to 8% of our overall customer base. Now, just moving forward to the next slide, I was talking a little bit about the innovation here. The innovation is not only for Kacific, so it's also for all the other satellite providers. We've launched a product called Pointcast. It's just a self-pointing mechanism for all types of satellite operators to basically deploy these to avoid the cost of installation, having an installer travel, but also the time to market and the time to connect to the satellites. This could be used in multi-orbit. So we have now tested this with Ku-band, Ka-band, as well as basically have been testing it with MEO satellite operators. And so this comes at the range of less than $1,000 for some of these remote antennas. We've got different versions of this. The other thing we have done, I spoke about, is the SatPack, which we call it Pointcast Go. It's basically a ManPack version of the satellite remotes that you've got in different industries. This also works with different constellations, and it's being basically sold at an affordable cost, which basically gives you an idea of how it grows. I have a video after this, but I think it's self-explanatory with all the discussions here. We have got over 15,000 terminals now. Our terminals are usually between 4.5 to 1.2 meter, different sizes, obviously, to cater their speeds. And our business plans are usually offered at 150 Mbps in terms of speeds with unlimited access. So that will be basically an introduction from my side. Thanks, Labrador.
Right. This final slide, this short video, very, very short video, just to illustrate what he's been talking about. So please play it.
Meet Pointcast, the future-ready, self-pointing VSAT solution for seamless satellite connectivity.
Not sure if we can get
In today's fast-evolving telecom landscape, satellite operators and service providers need reliable, scalable solutions to reach customers wherever they are. Frequent alignments, costly skilled labor, and challenging terrains can turn connectivity into a cycle of costly adjustments, making reliable service a difficult goal. With Pointcast, setup is as simple as plug and play. This innovative system self-calibrates and self-aligns, minimizing time and effort for deployment teams. Pointcast adapts seamlessly to various satellite networks, supporting both GEO and MEO satellites across Ku and Ka bands, making it an ideal choice for operators focused on scalability and flexibility. Control each Pointcast unit remotely through centralized fleet management or local web server access. With built-in diagnostics and remote monitoring, service providers can ensure peak performance across all installations, responding to real-time data and optimizing service continuity. With Pointcast, each VSAT responds to its own environment and to centralized commands to maintain optimal service at all times, reducing downtime and maximizing the efficiency of satellite megahertz. Pointcast's flexibility even allows remote repointing to different satellites in different frequencies. In extreme weather, The system safely stows and automatically repositions when conditions improve, ensuring minimal downtime. And if connectivity is lost, Pointcast autonomously realigns to maintain optimal service, enhancing reliability and reducing on-site visits. Whether in energy, enterprise, remote government, or critical infrastructure, Pointcast empowers satellite operators to deliver consistent, high-quality service on a global scale. Ready to transform how you bring satellite connectivity to the world? With Pointcast, the possibilities are endless. Pointcast is your future-proof solution for evolving satellite needs. Contact us today to learn more about how Pointcast can redefine your satellite service operations.
And last but not the least, our next speaker is Andrey Kirillovich. He's the Director of Strategy, Marketing, and Business Development for Intersputnik, which is one of the main organizers of this conference. He has worked for some other satellite operators before, and he's also worked in the ground segment. So he has a very unique perspective on this topic. He used to work for VT iDirect, which is now ST Engineering iDirect. So, Andrey?
So first of all, as one of the NatSatTel organizers, I would like to greet all the speakers and virtual attendees watching the live broadcast of the event. And I hope you will enjoy the content, presentations, keynote speeches, and panel discussions. Now a few words about myself. I have been working in the SATCOM industry for 25 years, and I'm very excited about the changes and challenges that are invading our industry, as challenges mean opportunities. So please put my slides on. Yes. So I represent Intersputnik. It's both commercial geo satellite market player and international intergovernmental organization established more than 50 years ago. We combine commercial activity with institutional, academic, and advisory activities of strengthening and developing economic, scientific, technical, cultural, and other relations through satellite communications and broadcasting. So we do this via our space and ground assets and resources. A unique status of Intersputnik allows it to scale up its commercial activities through international cooperation. The organization has access to the bandwidth of almost all satellite operators across the world. We use bandwidth from an orbital fleet of 25 plus GEO satellites in combination with a widely distributed teleport infrastructure of partners, members, and signatories. This provides flexibility in delivering a dedicated tailored connectivity solution for every customer and full range of advanced satellite communication and broadcast services. Plus, additionally, we also provide full support for national satellite procurement projects, including orbital slots. Intersputnik actively cooperates with the United Nations and its specialized agencies, intergovernmental satellite communications organizations, both global and regional, with regulators and organizations promoting the peaceful use of outer space and connecting the unconnected. We are an observer in COPOS, UNOSA, member of the International Astronautical Federation, ITU-R and ITU-D sectors, Global Satellite Operators Association, and many others. So as I said earlier, the satellite industry is in transition with new technologies, innovations, and services reshaping the market. So I have summarized them on the next few slides because it is a topic of our panel discussion. Please, next slide. So it is called the key technological advancements and innovations in SATCOM industry. So many of them have already been mentioned by Vivek in his presentation, but I will still also just stop on them very briefly. So it's innovations in space and on ground. All of them, they are making satellite connectivity more affordable, either by increasing bandwidth supply or reducing cost. So for non-geo constellations, the good news is that now they are progressing with lower cost of launch, mass production of satellites, flat panel, electronically steerable antenna advancements on the customer premises equipment side. One system is dominating the market right now, but more and more are coming with more pressure on pricing for satellite connectivity. The pressure is also added by new next-gen, very high-throughput GEO satellites. And on the GEO satellite procurement side, there are many improvements leading to considerable cost reduction of the projects. Very important is the new small GEO satellite concept, where new players offer a dedicated small satellite capable of providing dedicated coverage and throughput to isolated markets. and I'm personally a big fan of this approach as our organization unites countries. So more options appear for national domestic satellites at affordable price. But the most important is also fully digital software-defined payload, when footprints, throughput, and power can be adjusted on board, adding flexibility. So this allows planning a cooperation satellite model when, for example, several nations can combine several footprints dedicated for their domestic projects, using, for example, their Appendix 30B planned band allocated frequencies, and thus share the cost of the satellite. This also helps to avoid multiple satellites in orbit, overcrowding the geo arc. So one satellite instead of many, which is very good for space sustainability. And the next final slide, please. So now we move to the ground, and in general, for satellite connectivity, many things have changed on ground. So they're also driving the costs down, as the remote and rural sites are mostly sensitive to the price of the CPEs, the custom premises equipment. This includes squeezing more bits of information into the used hertz of radio spectrum, various virtualization techniques, when teleporter hub can be distributed over different locations, cloud-based opportunities to share network resources and processing the traffic. And also new services driving more intensive use of satellites in rural and remote areas. That's already mentioned here, direct-to-device, satellite IoT, precise farming, and etc. They will be discussed in the next panel also, the technology panel, and satellite IoT so we had a very good panel on this at NatSatTel last year in 2024. And the final very important point is that the evolution of the broadcasting business models from satellite play to hybrid solutions or adding terrestrial CDN on the delivery networks to satellite distribution offering by satellite operators. So I stop here, and yeah, that's the end of my presentation, and we can actually move on. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Andrey. Well, since you're to keep it fresh, I will first ask a question to all the panelists. You can start it off, Andrey. Can you cite a specific example of an innovative technology solution that you've implemented?
Okay, thank you for your question, Virgil. Intersputnik has been providing, as I said before, satellite communications and broadcasting services for more than 50 years. Starting from the early days when satellites started to be used for transmitting signals between point A and point B, and from point A to multiple points, which is called broadcasting. Since then, many new technologies have appeared on the market, and satellite role has been transforming over the time. But broadcasting is still holding strong positions in satellite, with a steady decline of linear broadcast and migrating to hybrid models. But satellite operators and broadcasters have been tied up very close during all these times. So we still have customers who do traditional DTH as well as distribution to cable headends and FT8 towers, but the margin is inevitably migrating towards applications and technology agnostic solutions. Broadcasting have shifted to OTT applications or internet media platforms where just broadband internet access is required. So we have seen many requests from customers and from member countries, from signatories, to move down the broadcasting value chain closer to the viewer. So to respond to this, we decided to move away from providing just satellite-based infrastructure and to take the best from both communications and broadcasting worlds. So the two markets where satellite has been a successful player for decades. Internet now is mostly used for social media, chatting and video. So we are developing an interactive OTT application with instant messaging functionality called it's called Farah TV, which combines live TV viewing with an option to comment and discuss videos. Farah is an acronym that highlights the key values of the ecosystem. It allows fast communications and availability of video content, as well as contains advanced technologies for reliable usage. At the same time, Farah is an all-in-one solution which unites multiple services within a single platform. So Farah users can watch live TV and video on demand and from around the world, create their own content and immediately discuss it. Looking ahead, we also plan to add more features for online education and video conferencing. So Farah's technique is something special. It allows smooth content streaming without any geographic restrictions for viewers. The ecosystem includes several components. Each is a complex tech solution, so it features a playout system, advanced stream transcoding algorithms, a content delivery network, and a proprietary mobile video streaming app. What makes this project unique isn't how it delivers the content, but also its app's functionality. The architecture supports multiple TV channels, broadcasts, and allows to watch content in private group chats. And at the next step, we plan to expand the software's capabilities, including linking chat history with broadcast time to codes. And no current messenger or streaming platform offers such a feature. So the challenges that we faced is just to combine all these things on a single platform and app. And we are on our way towards doing that.
Right. Mark, in your initial presentation, your overview, you really pointed out a very unique approach to providing services. Can you give us a specific example of how you're implementing an innovative solution to meet your customers' needs?
Sure. Yes. So as I mentioned, so we're new into this game. Where we're adding a lot of where we're really interfacing with a lot of the customers at the moment is in two particular areas. One is on the Earth observation side, where we have this well-established business, and introducing this marketplace concept. Customers have problems they want solving, questions they want answers to. They don't particularly care about the technology behind the solution itself, so long as they get a quality solution, the quality answers their questions in a timely manner at a reasonable price. So introducing this marketplace concept, where in the back end we're fusing multiple data sources together. And then have a orchestration layer in the middle, leveraging machine learning and AI capabilities to be able to find the best solution to people's questions, is really where we see a lot of value at the moment. And today we're helping to address some of those questions our customers have. Alongside that, we have a broadband network that we've deployed, and we've been successful in, especially in the in-flight connectivity market, accessing a number of key customers that we're looking to provide service to and expand the fleet of aircraft that we'll be connecting. So I think there's certainly, as considering such a young company, we're really making inroads, and I think in quite a unique way in the Earth observation side. And we're looking to build out this broadband constellation, which I think is going to use a number of the technologies that we've been discussing already today, whether it's software-defined satellites and delivering on the long-promised economic benefits that are promised by those capabilities, something that was close to my heart when signed a contract for 3 of these spacecraft back in 2019, as well as the advent of smaller GEO spacecraft, which I agree with Andrey, have a really interesting role in the future of space, addressing some particular sovereign and nationality requirements without having the cost of what has been a traditional GEO. So, and then coupling that with a sort of a multi-orbit solution, looking at capabilities provided by NGSO networks, and really stitching those networks, those individual satellite components together to create a unified network. Because as I come back to the point I made at the beginning, the customers don't particularly care about the technology. They just care about the solution. So if we can abstract away which technology, which data path, which Earth observation sensors taking the data, and actually just provide them the answers that they're looking for, or the connectivity that they're looking for, I think that is going to be a winning combination. So yeah, I hope that addresses your question, Virgil.
Yes. I want a follow-up question, Mark. AI, does that figure into your strategy?
Oh, well,
artificial intelligence.
AI is featuring everyone's strategy these days, because you can't go to a conference or panel session without talking about AI. But right. the 2 areas of AI which I think from our perspective are very important are in this orchestration of networks and networks. You can have an NGSO network, you can have a GEO network, but actually deciding which customer uses which network at any one time, to either to load balance or for quality of service. Are they doing a video conference? So low latency is super important, and therefore you want to route them onto a network which has low latency, like an NGSO network. or are they doing bulk transfers where actually it's more cost effective still to do that via geo typically? And yeah, making that sort of real-time SLA-based, user-based decisions about which networks to use and how you allocate resources on the spacecraft in a real-time way is going to be key. And the other area of AI, which I sort of briefly touched upon, is how we answer the customer's questions, especially when it comes to aspects like Earth observation. You can have SAR sensors, you can have sensors like AIS sensors, you can have infrared sensors. Again, the user doesn't particularly care about where the data has come from. What they care about is that solution, and using AI to translate what is a business or a customer question into a set of data streams to be able to answer that question. AI has a fundamental role to play in that.
Yes, indeed. Very important point you make there, about the users not caring about, how it's done, as long as it's done to their specifications and at the right price. So Brandon, I'll just rephrase the question a little bit for you, because you've already explained your podcast and how you've actually evolved your company to meet the current demands. But the question is, it's also one of the speakers actually in the next panel, Bruce Elbert was asking, how do you leverage, or your strategy, these new innovations in gaining market access to certain countries, and expanding your footprint, from your bailiwick, which is, I guess, since your name is the Pacific.
Yeah, thanks, Labrador. I think we have become experts now in dealing with networks in the remote areas. Mark pointed out something very interesting, which a lot of businesses don't really care about the type of technology that you use in the remote areas. What they care is a homogeneous network that's basically managed end to end, and that is government customers, telcos, as well as businesses, and that has a mix of fiber, satellite, or any other constellation, so that they can have 100% uptime. We're looking at a country like Philippines with over 7,000 islands, and almost 60% of those islands wouldn't have any homogeneous network, wouldn't have a network that basically you can rely on as business and government. And we have deployed about 1,200 sites. But then you go even beyond that. What we see is access alone is not basically enough. You need to enable customers for accessibility. In a lot of these areas, they would require power. You need the right power that is affordable. So we have managed to bundle now the auto-pointing or self-pointing antennas with power. We offer a package with power and water, just because in court offices, police offices, community centers, if you don't have power, water, and sometimes aircon with internet, people would just not use the internet. So the success rate of deploying a large or a vast constellation of terminals in these areas wouldn't really help us achieve the customer success rate for governments to continuously invest in USO-funded projects. And then what we have done is, in a lot of these unserved or underserved areas, we have packaged it again with fiber. We've packaged it with other constellations other constellations to be able to expand. This is in existing markets of Kacific. Now, when it comes to new markets like Pakistan and Afghanistan, we have leveraged the capacity that's available from third-party satellite operators. We're talking about operators like the government-owned operators or government-owned satellites that they haven't been able to leverage the potential in these countries. So we partner with them to either basically buy the entire capacity of that satellite for those beams, or partner as part of a revenue share operation, invest on a hub, and then bundle it with the solutions that we have bundled in the last 25 markets to basically expand. So that's what we do. It's nothing new. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I should say, when it comes to infrastructure like power and networks, if you don't have the right integration, and if you don't spend the time to basically integrate it in local remote areas or areas required, you wouldn't be able to basically influence the dollars and the revenue markets. So that's what we have seen in our experience, Labrador. Thanks.
Right. I think we, this being a satellite operators panel, we have to address the multi-orbit. That's another buzzword, strategy. Since I got you, Brandon, maybe you can start it off. And I know the product you presented earlier has multi-orbit functionality. So talk about your strategy, if your multi-orbit strategy as a company.
So the multi-orbit strategy really comes down to the cost of the remote these days. If the cost of the remote for some of these businesses and governments are more than $1,000 and they can't achieve 125 or 130 or 140 Mbps, they're not really interested, just because they've seen the benchmark with Starlink. All the Starlink has different pricing in different places. What we have done is we have basically approached this from the point of stand of a backup solution. So where we have capacity, we offer Ka-band as the primary solution, and then obviously we can offer the backup as Ku-band or MEO satellite operators capacity. Where we don't have capacity, then we have worked with other operators to basically offer the self-pointing antennas packaged with our leveraged network to be able to sell it. So yes, it's a strategy that we can't avoid. But you would need to package it well. You would need to manage it well, because a lot of the customers that we deal with, their headache is not just going to Starlink or another constellation to buy the service. Their headache is deployment, making sure they have the capacity to pay for it after, the power for it to basically enable accessibility, and then a safe environment to ensure people can use the technology that's given to them.
Yeah, we had a question from Cecil about if you're using a MEO system, and as you showed in your presentation, Cecil Emil asked a question that you are currently using a GEO satellite. The Kacific one is a GEO satellite, right?
We have offered Ku-band and Ka-band. Ku-band is offered through the third-party operators. Ka-band is basically offered through our own satellite where we have coverage. We are just trialing with another MEO satellite operator on the basis of, offering it as a backup in some of the areas that we currently have coverage, and some of the areas that they have coverage and we don't have the coverage today. And that's going very well. I can say it's a mutual discussion and partnership. The margins are quite thin when it comes to these kind of businesses, but you will have to manage it with the customer as well.
Right. So, Mark, you currently operate one GEO satellite, right? So
the Kingdom has a SGS-1 satellite today, yes.
Right. So is multi-orbit part of your strategy? Do you plan to go into LEOs and MEOs?
I would say multi-strategy is definitely part of our roadmap. Whether we build our own LEO system is a very different question. If every nation in the world builds their own constellation, we're going to end up with a lot of satellites, and they probably won't be economically robust. So having worked in sort of multi-orbit systems for a long time, what I've noticed, what I've recognized, is that, again, different customers have different requirements. A consumer broadband user is very different from a military user, for example. They have different requirements in terms of maybe capacity, resilience, where traffic is landed, autonomy, how much sovereign control they have. And therefore, so no one customers or no two customers are exactly the same. So where multi-orbit can come into play is that ability to be able to orchestrate between the networks. If you've got a customer requirement, which is a network that they are is most suited to their need, and you can see, for example, maybe a large-scale NGSO network is, as we saw at the beginning in terms of the price per bit, essentially has really come down with the advent of Starlink and Kuiper and 1,000 cells coming along later. So the economics for pure bandwidth economics have changed. But what still remains is, okay, those users who need some form of reliability, some form of sovereign control, some form of landing rights. And for those, there's a different network architecture. So for me, a multi-orbit solution is having a range of networks, again, that essentially you manage on behalf of the user. You know what that user needs at the moment, and you route it accordingly. The one area where we still need development in the multi-orbit solution is around the user terminal side. So an NGSO system requires a flat panel phased array to be able to do make before breaks, and to be able to do seamless handover as the LEOs pass overhead. The problem with these antennas is that at low elevation angles, they're not particularly efficient. The scan loss on the antennas means their efficiency drops hugely. So we haven't yet seen a product in the market that they can be optimized for GEO, like a parabolic, they can be optimized for LEO, like a flat panel, but they can't be optimized for both yet. So I think where there could be good technical evolution in the future is around that user terminal device to try and not be optimized for any one solution, but to allow users to have a reasonable performance across all orbital domains.
Right. Andrey, do you have a multi-orbit strategy, or what are your thoughts on the multi-orbit strategies? You're muted, Andrey.
Yeah, so we provide the solution based on the customer requirements. So if the customer needs geo, we provide it. If non-geo, we can also provide this. So yes, we see multi-orbit as a strategy fitting our business model, but only as a distributor, because the market will not be frozen at the current point with only one LEO player. With a very flexible, flexible distribution policy. There are also some other options with the MEO as well, and there are also more LEO constellations approaching with more interesting option for third parties. So as to the proprietary non-geo, it is a very capital-intensive option requiring global coverage and with not clear profitability. So definitely not. So new generation GEO HTS in combination with small GeoSats that I mentioned earlier can do the job in 95, maybe 80% of the business cases. What is really needed in the multi-orbit strategy is a strong cooperation and consolidation on standardization and to drive the cost down based on the scale of production, so that not to subsidize the CPE terminals. Again, I'm just make a stress on the cost of the CPE, which is very important, especially
cost. Yes, indeed, very important. Unfortunately, we have limited time, so let's do a speed round very quickly. I just want to ask you in just one line or two, what are you most bullish about? Which technology do you think will be key drivers? Is it AI, virtualization, intersatellite links, whatever? So two, maybe the most bullish and then the second one. Let's start with you, Brandon.
That's quite a good question, and there are so many answers to it. But I'd like to focus on three things. I think there's a lot of geostationary satellites that there's a common way to bring them all together and use the capacity. Or most of the government-funded satellites in the last few years, some of the satellites in our regions are not fully used or fully utilized. We could probably make a great use of that. So that's the first thing. Obviously, AI is becoming a big phenomenon. We use it today for digital management of our sites, for tracking data, for tracking earthquakes, and then it goes beyond that for telecom operators. And last but not least, I think the notion of multi-orbit is there. The customer end cost or the remote cost of the service has become a major challenge, and basically margins are quite thin. Investors would like to keep, obviously, the margin. So that's another phenomenon to resolve for us, which we would need to introduce better technologies for it. Thanks.
Right. So that's bandwidth optimization, AI, and multi-orbit. Mark?
So in the direct-to-device space, I'm bullish on the IoT side of it, the narrowband side of it. On the broadband side, I think that's hard. I think the physics is hard with essentially the base stations moving very fast in orbit, maybe 1,000 times further away than the terrestrial base station. So I'm talking about the connecting to the unmodified smartphone. The spectrum side, the difference between terrestrial and MSS spectrum, that needs to play out. And then the commercial side, as the comment was made at the beginning, I think the commercial case for the broadband 5G NTN is still in question. We see T-Mobile in the US, even just with a texting service, going to the market $15 per month. That seems quite high to me. So I think NTN IoT, yes. The broadband side is going to be more challenging.
Right. So direct-to-device NTN. Andrey?
Yeah, I'm definitely bullish on the software-defined payloads and small geo satellites as a really hot mix for national satellite programs, allowing nations to have sovereign countrywide satellite network at affordable price and really relevant level of flexibility. D2D, it's bullish and bearish at the same time, because bullish because it will help MNOs to deliver true 100% coverage, save people life and provide even voice. I believe in this. But bearish in terms of the market expectations on getting your smartphone works everywhere with a broadband internet connectivity. This will never be reached.
All right, so that's 2 votes for direct-to-device and software-defined satellites. Very, very good. This actually is an excellent segue to our next panel. So thank you very much, panelists. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for now. If you have any further questions, just use that chat. You know, we might get to you by email or other ways. So we move on now. Thank you very much again for this excellent panel.